What's going on, painting contractors and entrepreneurs? Aiden Smith with the Paint Your Path podcast. We have a good one for you today, and I am joined by my co-host, the great and powerful Joel Mercado.
What's up? What's up, man? How's it going, brother?
It's a nice hat.
Yeah, man. I know a guy,
Uh-huh. You know what's even nicer though? Your paintings in the background. Those are some of my favorite things.
It's funny. I actually had Brennan sent a screenshot. I forgot that I did last episode halfway, half in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Yo, where did you get those paintings?" And I forgot that I was doing the call like this. And I have both of them. And what people don't know is I actually commissioned these jobs through one of my actual painters.
Mm,
Because he's an artist by trade. And in 2022, my wife and I went to a museum. We saw a roller and a brush, but it was like epoxied.
gotcha.
So then what I did was I told him, here's a photo. I want it to look like this. So he made the same style of it, but his own rendition. I absolutely love him.
So dope. One of one piece,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Super sick.
Ever since I saw them, I was like, damn. Because I appreciate stuff like that, and
Yeah.
that's like
Yeah.
with painting background and stuff, just all kind of
Yeah.
works.
Every time I see it in my office, I get excited. I'm like, oh,
Awesome, man. Well, we got a good one today. We are going to continue our painting business CEO series,
yes,
and
sir.
we are going to do part one of sales. So,
Mm,
obviously, sales is the number one leverage point in your business. It can have the biggest impact in your business if you dial
yep.
that in. And you're running a 30-day sales challenge right now, which has been bonkers. I'm going to be doing a
Dude.
call for you this week. I know you have one.
Yes.
You had one at like 7 a.m. this morning, so you're
Yes.
you're in the midst of sales season.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome, brother. Like, it all stemmed off one client saying, "Hey, I need some help with my sales reps," and I was like, "Well, if I ever do something out of pocket for one client, I'm gonna do it for all." So that's where I created the 30-day challenge, and I was like, "Hey, everybody wound up." And dude, I appreciate you coming in. What's cool is we're in week 3 this week. And week 1, we did the 5 objection handles that I think is most common, which is price, spouse, I need to think about it, multiple quotes, and timeline in the
Yeah.
painting world. And then, so we started off with that week 1. Week 2, we actually went through a walkthrough, how I go through overcoming objections during the walkthrough, very
Mm.
early on before you start talking about your process. And then week 3 is with you guys. So I pulled in the muscle and I was like, hey, Aiden, can you come in? So Aiden's going to be on Wednesday.
Mhm.
Nick Kelly's tomorrow. So Tuesday. Thursday we have Big Sam, and then Friday we've got Russell Peach. So like, I appreciate you guys. It's gonna be fun.
Huge, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
debating. I was like, should I go over the sales audit stuff, right, that I've been doing, or should I just be like a guinea pig and just role play with all the guys individually and like
You should role
see
play,
where they're
dude.
at, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Like it's like, yo, go. I need to think about it, right? And just have them use the skills that they've been developing through you on me and like try to close me and see just like live time how they do it.
Yeah.
So
Anyway, dude, that's the whole point, right? Is to get them out of their comfort zone.
yeah.
So it's all been role play, live time every day for the last 3 weeks. So they better be prepared.
Yeah, one of my guys in our program jumped on it and he was like, dude, he's been doing it for everybody or whatever. So I just jumped in. He's like, it's been game so far. I was like,
Yeah.
damn, that's
Yeah,
fire.
he's been, dude, he already had a good, I think I know who you're talking about. And he's already got a pretty decent sales background. I can tell,
Yeah.
like, the one thing I've been changing as a commonality, and if anyone that's listening to this real quick, just know what I've noticed was a lot of people that got on my call, they would jump to the process way too soon for
Mm.
me. Like, it would be like, oh, this is what we do, blah, 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 blah. And I feel like that's just like too much information, like overload, where they're not asking qualifying questions.
Yeah.
So what I did was I really flipped it on them. I was like, listen, guys, I want you to talk about your process last. I really want you to get to know me. So let's practice. Like, you guys don't know me personally, just ask me personal questions.
Yeah.
Let's have fun with it. And then once they started opening up that way, then I go, okay, well, now translate this into the project. What are some great questions you can ask about the project? So that's what we've been kind of changing them out of their day-to-day
Yeah.
routine, which has been fun.
Yeah, it's so interesting because following certain people that I know that really take the sales to the next level, the commonality is you need to be asking more questions. And there's
Hmm.
actually a correlation of if you're asking more questions, right, compared to other people maybe on your team, you're going to have a higher close ratio
100%.
every time, right? It's kind of like an
Every time.
80-20 rule, right? 80% questions, 20% statements. And if
Yep.
you do that and follow that, your close ratio is going to go up by default because it's not about you anymore. All you're doing is dissecting the client, what they need, their
Yes.
problems. And then now you use that. It's like ammo in a gun to be able to use that
Mm-hmm.
and actually close that person. So
100%. I love that you mentioned that too, because there is a psychology on it. They actually call it the 70-30 rule, but that was from Dale Carnegie from a book called How to Influence Friends. I forget the whole thing, but
sure.
it's he talks the 70-30 rule, which is listen more than talk about the product or services and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I like your 80-20 rule because I stay in that 80-20 and a lot of things in the leadership, so I could see how that can translate in that too.
Dude, what did our friend Michael Page just put out today? Fire ass video, right?
I didn't
Yeah.
see it. I haven't seen it 100%. I saw it. I was scrolling. I didn't have time to like listen to it, but I'm sure it was something fire.
It's basically what we're saying right now. It is like,
Oh
it is
yeah.
not about you. It is not about, you can say
Yeah.
whatever you want. You can rattle off, the different paint, what it does, all that kind of stuff, but you're not actually solving their problem. You're not curating things to them and what they want and what they care about. So they're waking up with a problem every day. And it's like, if you're not trying to solve that and you're just feature dumping, you're just sounding like everybody else.
Yeah, man. It's so funny when I'm a book guy, right? So the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, it says seek first to understand, then be understood. So what happens is if you're trying to think of what the next thing they're gonna say, then you're not really effectively listening.
Mm,
Because you're thinking of the next question you're about to ask versus actually listening to the question that they're answering right now. So I love that framework where it says seek first to understand, then be understood, because when you ask the question, then you know what question to ask from that question. And a lot of people, when they come on these calls, they go, well, how do I know the right question is? I'm like, I don't know. Because I don't know what they're going to tell you, right? Like, I
okay.
just know you need to ask another question. So listen to what they're saying, right? So the cool part is if you guys change your framework and your mindset behind that, I'm trying to sell them a paint job, which we all know we're there for, is to
Yeah.
sell a paint project, right? And every other estimator they go see. What if we change the perspective to, okay, well, I'm just here to be on their team and guide them to the solution they're looking for. That filter shift already is what's going to make you be better than any other estimator that shows up to their house, because we're a team. We're just going to guide each other to the end result. And what does that look like? Well,
Yeah.
I have to ask you questions so I know where to go. And that's it. It's that simple.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's the little things, right, that you master.
Hmm.
I love how you reference like your martial arts background sometimes because you say like people want to jump right to the spinning wheel kick, but they can't even
Yeah.
do a simple leg kick.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I
that's the
always
truth.
say,
Like effective
yeah.
listening, you think, oh, well, I just have to listen to what they're saying. But it's like a lot more deeper than that. And the better you get at mastering those soft skills, those small details, the cues from the responses they're giving you, you get to better your game, serve more people, land more jobs. And it becomes like I think I said it on the last podcast. You start to operate in slow-mo in a way.
Yes, yes. What a lot of people don't understand is when you get that foundation done right first, then the setup after that is what works.
Yeah.
So, no different when you say the martial arts thing. I always say, well, if you can't do a jab cross, which is the most basic punch, how do you think you can do an advanced kick if you didn't set it up with the jab cross? So, what's his name? Gary Vee said it best back in the day when he said jab, jab, hook, or something like that. The jab, jab is the setup, right? But the
Yep.
hook is when he goes for the close. So it's no different in sales, right? All the questions you're asking is setting you up for the close. But if you're not asking the questions, you're not able to dissect or see the problems. And then you're completely missing the boat. And then at the end, when they come up with an objection, you got punched in the face. You're like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to say. I don't know where to go.
And it's you're
Right?
trying to tread water and kind of just like feature dump and well, here's our warranty, here's what we do. We care about our customers. And it's like maybe they didn't ask that. Maybe they have a different why.
Correct.
And I saw something from Jeremy Miner. It was like he went around the room asking everybody, what makes you different? Right.
Yeah.
And they were like, we care about our clients, right?
Yeah, we all
We're
do.
we're gonna be go above and beyond for you. And it's like, don't you sound the same as the last five guys?
Hmm.
And in reality, it's like, what makes you different, right? And it's like, well, I'm not really sure I am, right? I need to know what you're looking for, and then I can see if we actually have a solution for you, because we might not be the right decision for you, and that's okay.
Yes.
So I'm finding that with our guys that it's almost like the best feeling when you get to turn down someone for not aligning with what you're trying to do. And I actually have the perfect example. I went through an estimate today, right?
Yeah.
Mind you, we have a in-depth pre-qualification process. We send automations, right? And we'll get to all that stuff. We're covering sales today. But I went above and past red flags, saw
Mm.
red flags. She said to me over the phone, she said, I've gotten 7 estimates. You'll be the 8th and hopefully the last.
Woo.
Right
How'd
away.
you handle that?
What do you think about that? And I'll tell you what I said.
When someone has that many quotes, there's a couple things. Someone already didn't bring any clarity to them, so there's a lack of clarity or a lack of certainty. That's one. The second thing also is someone that wants that many estimates could be really price shopping, right? Price could be everything to them. So I'm going to ask them over the phone immediately, well, what's the reason why you're doing all these quotes?
Yes.
Where most estimators won't do that, they'll just do the estimate and just go. I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like, whoa, 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 I'm the 8th one. Well, tell me a little bit more about that. Why am I the 8th one? And then what didn't you get from those other 7 that still leads you to believe you need one more? And then I'm gonna start hearing and watching what she's saying, or he, obviously, whoever's on the call. And then I would dissect it from there because I'm not gonna go to a job site. I'm not gonna go to an estimate if I'm the 8th quote. I'm gonna try to re-qualify them over the phone and
Yep.
figure out what's going on.
Love that. And that's
Yeah.
essentially what I did. There's 2 ways you can kind of go about this, right? One, and it's probably what I should have done looking back, because I'll get to this in a second,
Yeah, yeah,
is
yeah.
say, hey, have you done research on us, right? And I did ask her that, but later. And she goes, well, I was referred to you by this person down the street. I think you did some work in
Oh,
the area. So I'm like confident in that. Cool.
yeah.
But when someone doesn't look into you, right, or see your, Google, your website, something that gets them sold, you're just another estimate, right?
Hmm.
So there is no difference maker by the time you get there, which is a little bit frustrating because you want them to be partially sold. So we started
Yes.
doing was sending automations out before we get there. We send a video, a testimonial, and there's one other thing we do. But there's like 2 or 3 touch points we send before we get there, to have them further look at something, say, hey, this is actually a company I'm really looking forward to. Or maybe, yeah, they're going to be a little more expensive. I'm kind of bracing for it. That's kind of what I want someone to feel when we're
Yep.
showing up. And then, yeah, I said, hey, what makes you want to get these, like, another estimate? Have you not found what you're looking for? Or is there a reason? And she was like,
Yes.
well, we have some time. We're looking around and we have the time to get the estimates. We're not in a super rush. And she was like, I really just want to go through, and if you have like a good presentation, like if I feel confident, and the price is where I want it to be, then we're good. So I probed and probed and probed. And I finally got to saying, well, if you want the best deal, we're going to be offering a same day discount. That's what we do, right? If you
Yep.
sign on with
Yep.
us. So I got her prepped for that. So it was going to be a yes or no. We discovered a little more. Finally, I said, all right, there's a slot. We're going to make it work. I'm going to come out. Of course, she's like, I'm a realtor. I usually
I'm gonna
use other
refer
guys.
people.
Dude, she's like, I usually use my other guys, but blah, blah,
Yeah.
blah. And she goes, I say, hey, here's the price for duration, right? We go through the whole thing and Emerald upgrade. And she goes, what about A100?
Jeez.
So she
Yeah.
was not even letting me finish my sales presentation before we got to the price. She just wanted price. But this is what I'm alluding to is these are red flags that
Hmm.
you kind of see coming, and it's your decision if you're going to go out there and waste your time essentially. And that's essentially what
Yeah.
I did, unfortunately.
Well, here's the cool part, though. I love it. This is what I love. The fact that you're still estimating right now, because it's freaking sick. Because now we can live time be like, okay, what happened? What could we
Yeah.
done differently? What I love is that we're able to give this content now to our listeners. Because look what you just did, right? You were like, well, I would have done this differently. So now, I went out there. I feel like I got this time wasted in the physical form, but this is what I would have done differently. So now, the next time it happens, boom, that's the corrective action,
Yeah.
right? Whereas some people just continue to do the same process over and over again, expecting different results.
Mm-hmm.
You actually reflect on it and you're like, I'm going to change this process next time.
Yeah. And I put it out there because I want to give the guys that are listening some insight on, like, it's
Yes.
okay to be bougie. It's okay to
Yes.
tell somebody, hey, based on everything I'm hearing, we may not be the right fit. We would love to work with you, but do some research. Make sure you're like, hey, I'm willing to pay, a good amount for this job or whatever. Maybe give them a price range. But I think it's important to just really not just go and run to an estimate, right?
Yeah.
Like we have the pre-qual for a reason, and you need to trust yourself to be able to deny people as well, or tell people it's not the best fit. Right? Because imagine if I had a sales rep, which we're recruiting for right now, and I sent them out and went through everything, and now they're looking at me like, Aiden, I don't think that was the best lead. I don't know if I should have went on that sale, based on what she's telling me. So now don't just look at it for you, look at it for the organization. And like you said, reflect on things, maybe even make that an SOP or tweak something to try and weed these people out. There's going to be one-offs, but essentially reflecting on these things help you get better and systemize things. And yeah.
Yeah, I love it, man. Here's the cool part too is I like when you said we call that a takeaway close as an old sales tactic. A takeaway close is when you take away something from someone to make them want it more, right?
Yeah.
Because they're gonna be like, why doesn't this company not want to do this for us? And I like the framework of using like, hey, assuming would be the right fit, right? Because what do you do now? When you say the word assuming, you put in their mind, you just planted a seed. Well, here's an assumption. Assuming we're the right fit, we'll see what we can do to help you out. And
Yeah.
then that kind of puts a little bit of doubt in their mind where they go, well, what do you mean? Assuming. What do you mean you may not be the right fit? No other contractor said that. Because guess what contractors do? They yes you to death. We could definitely,
Great
we
call.
could definitely be there and do it for you. I'll be there tomorrow,
Yeah.
right? Desperation. But when you got a guy like Hayden, literally went right through the call, prepping, had a pre-call from his office, then calls in to make sure it's the right fit, and is putting and setting the expectations, then setting a what to expect video.
Yeah.
Look at my reviews. Look at like, and then assuming we're the right fit, dude. Like, what do you think happens? It puts you in a whole nother tier. They're like, okay, this guy, I can't even afford this guy. I don't want to waste his time.
Yeah.
So it's super important, guys. I agree with you, man.
Yeah. And for us too, that's not even a client that I would want to work with,
Facts.
So we didn't even send the estimate. We just said, hey, no worries, right? Like not a good fit. And we went our both ways. But the funny thing is, I'm doing the same type of house in the same neighborhood. So what she like squawked at for the price, the other person happily went for it, right? Because now there's two people that have different mindsets, different wants, different needs. And that client just wasn't for us. And that's okay.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you said she was a realtor, right? Not to do this, but the reality is the reality. Most realtors will always say, notice how you said, "Oh, I got my own guys." Okay, great. Why aren't you using them?
Yeah.
Like, guys, get really comfortable calling people out in a very professional, respectful way. I love the call out, and then watch how they respond. Great. If you have all these other painting companies, why aren't you using them?
Mm-hmm.
And just sit there and pause and watch.
That's so interesting.
Watch what they say. They're too busy or they didn't want to take this job. Oh, well, I'm curious. Why didn't they want to take the job? Oh, my budget wasn't enough. Oh, so is it a painter problem or is it your budget?
Yep. And
You
let's
guys
go
can
back.
expose it fast.
Let's go back also too, right? Is like that same day discount is a tool that we can use,
Yes.
right? Doesn't even have to be a locked in percentage, right? It doesn't like you don't have to say, oh, it's 10%, right? Like it
Yeah.
can be what it is, what you feel you need to be at for that job. That's fair, that you feel would be good, right? For your margins or whatnot. But it is a tool that some people just want to know that you're giving them a deal,
Right.
right? Like shout out to our sponsor, DripJobs, Path 60.
Yes.
If you guys want a 60-day trial to an all-in-one CRM for painting contractors, PATH 60, get 60 days free. But Tanner put me on to like sometimes, dude, people just want a deal. Like he was like, I'm the type guy that I want to know you're going to wow me. You're going to go above and beyond and you got the processes and all that. But I also just want to know I'm special, right?
Facts.
Like just, hey, hook me up, right? Even if you marked it up and came down, I don't recommend that. But like, that's the idea is like, just make sure that guy knows you're giving him a deal and you can use that tool if somebody's on the fence, right? And me and Tanner, it's funny because he dropped the diagnostics from DripJobs. You seen that?
Oh, yeah.
So we did my whole thing, right? And he was like, look, you're leaving some money on the table. And we kind of went through it. And he was like, you have an awesome average job size. Like you're great at selling high ticket, but sometimes you're not giving enough discount to these people.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, just win the job. Like keep your guys busy. Just keep going. There's going to be hits. There's going to be home runs. He's like, I need you if you just got the job and gave him a little discount, like you would be so much busier. And I had to take that because I'm stubborn. I'm a stubborn motherfucker. Excuse me.
Yeah, no, but yeah,
But like,
I love it. Yeah, yeah.
because like for me, it's like, man, I know we're gonna knock it out the park. I know what it is, right? Just like how we all feel as a premium provider. And it's like once you start getting to that price war, it's also opening up another can of worms of
Yeah,
cutting corners, getting that person to feel like they're going to be asking for stuff throughout, and you give them a discount, but then they're going to complain on the back end, right? Usually the guys that don't ask for discount are the easiest transactions and jobs ever.
yeah,
So that's kind of
yeah.
my mindset. But he was like, dude, if you just said 250, $500 here and there, blah, 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 match pricing on this, whatever it is, it would be a game changer for you. So I took that and I
Brother,
ran
I
with
measure for that, by the way.
it. Mm-hmm.
So I taught my team if we're 4 to 6 weeks booked out, don't discount. If you're less than 4 weeks
Yes.
booked out, discount. There you are.
Mm-hmm.
Because like there's like a psychological feeling behind it. Like when you're like, well, we're 4 to 6 weeks booked out, I'm not gonna take this job. You actually feel good about that decision. When you're not 4 to 6 weeks booked out and you don't take the job, then you kind of feel bad about it. You're like, man, I could really use this job. And
Yep.
guess what happens? You carry that into the next sale and the next one and the next one. Then the stress gets caused. So I have like a metric that I measure. 4 to 6 weeks, no discount. Below 4 weeks, discount. Get us back to four to
I
six.
love that.
That's just how we do it.
Dude. And also, like you said, or use that schedule as a scarcity factor,
Yeah,
right? Like, hey, we actually have a spot. If you can help us out, we can knock out $500 here and get you guys in the schedule. It's a win-win for everybody, right?
I did
How's
that
that
last week. Yeah, it's so funny. Like it's so funny. I did that last week and I was showing that live to a client. And I was like, listen,
Yeah.
like sometimes I'll ask on the follow-up, but like, hey, to make this a win-win, I have a spot that I need to fill. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I'm willing to discount it because I need to fill in the spot. It means more to me. I take more pride in keeping my guys busy and taking my care of my customers than thinking about me. When you do that, you don't think a customer's gonna be like, damn, like
Slam dunk.
yeah, I'm gonna work with you, man. No worries, because you're being honest, right? Like, there's nothing better than honesty. So
You did a couple
tell them.
things there. You raised emotion, you raised
Hmm.
scarcity, win-win, give, get,
Yep,
right? Like there's a couple things that you did. And I think that's the difference sometimes, of
hundred
navigating
percent.
those situations in the proper way. I think building scarcity has been like one of the biggest things that I've been focusing on throughout pretty much all my sales, whether it be coaching, whether it be the painting business, just to be like frank with you. And
Yeah, yeah,
I actually started noticing it more, if that makes sense. You
yeah. Okay,
know,
yeah, yeah,
like I
yeah,
saw a
yeah.
TikTok ad today, and it was like teeth whiteners, and it was like, hey, here's a purple correction, right? Opposite spectrum of yellow. There was a, what's it called? What's it called? Like when it's something makes sense and it's selling you, like, oh, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Basically,
There's
it's
a
like the
certain thing you're looking for.
scientific backing of it. All right, so you're like, all right,
Yeah,
cool, that makes sense. And then the next thing was, but they go out of stock all the time because there's so many good reviews. So if you're going to order now before it goes out of stock again. And it's like that kind of made me want to do it again. Not that I needed that product, but you know what I'm saying.
yeah. It hits your logic point. You're like, oh,
My
that makes
logic
sense. Let me
point.
just do it. Yeah,
Yes. And then it said, well, there's a limited time, act now. Okay. That kind of makes me want to push the button a little bit more. So, how can we do
yeah,
that with our sales, even if you're not 4 to 6 weeks booked out, right? Or even if you
yeah,
have, maybe there's not much going on. And then you look at the calendar just to, you know what I'm saying? You don't see any jobs, but you're like, yeah, let me look. Yeah, I think we could squeeze you in, right?
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
it's that
Yeah,
idea
there's
of,
you got to look at it this way too. I mean, we go back to that honesty building part. There's that one part right there. If you don't have it, be like, hey, listen, I'm only willing to do this today because of
yeah,
this, and show them your schedule. Or the vice versa. If you're getting busy, there's sometimes you guys are doing 3, 5 estimates a day daily.
yeah,
Show them your estimate schedule. Hey, just so you know, this is first come, first serve. And due to what you just said on your timeline, it sounds like you're trying to get started soon, right?
yeah.
Yes. Okay, great. Well, look at my schedule. I don't know if I'm going to fill that schedule up by the end of the day today or tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's my concern if you don't make a decision today. Now you're using the schedule to be the decision maker, not you pushing them to make the decision. Does that make
Money,
sense?
money.
Yeah. So there's so many different ways you can go around.
I got another one for you too. Don't jump right into the discount. right?
Oh, I never. Yeah, no, no, no.
Don't jump right into the discount, right? Because
Nope.
even if somebody pushes back, it does not mean that the money isn't where it needs to be or you're not worth it. Sometimes discounting actually hurts your value,
Yes.
right? Because it's like, oh, this guy's flexible now. Oh, shit. I should have mentioned something earlier, right? Whereas they were
Hmm.
already willing to pay what it takes, right?
Correct.
You just didn't resonate with them or a certain pain point enough, right? And
Yes.
I think we need to kind of build that problem a little bit more also, right?
Hmm.
One of the things we do out here is a lot of stucco repair is needed, right? So
Yeah.
there will be
Yep.
cracks and, eventually it starts bubbling and now it has to be a patch. So I really drill into like, you have a problem here, and if it's not done the right way or it gets any worse, you're gonna have a big bill in your hands, right? And here's the different process we use, right? To make sure
Yeah.
that other companies, you can't find that with other companies, right? Here's a horror story that we saw. Now
Yep.
you're like, damn, these guys do it right for sure. I feel that closure. There's a problem that they're educated on, and I need to get this done. I'm willing to pay the expert because it's ASAP. I need it. He checks all the boxes. Prices maybe a little bit more, but he made that problem seem so much worse, right? That
Yeah.
they're like, you know what? I need this done.
My favorite one with that, by the way, I'll add to it. I call it the contractor comparison. And a lot of
Mm.
people fear this. Okay. This is what I do. You ever walk into the house that you're looking at and you looked across the street and you could see they use caulking or a different type
Oh
of
yeah.
product to fill it in?
Oh yeah.
It's money every single time. So I go, "Oh, Mr. Jones, do you see that house right there?
Hmm.
Right, literally right here on the block with your neighbor's house. What do you see wrong with their stucco right now?" They're like, "Oh my God, I never looked at that before, but it looks like a bunch of veins all over their house." Yeah, most contractors that are cheaper are not
Hmm.
using the right product. So what they do is that to save time on labor, save time on product, to
Yeah.
come in at a lower price. What we do here at Smith and Co. Painting is we use Ready Patch. Stucco Ready Patch is that same type of product that we're using for this substrate. Which option works best for you?
Yeah.
Do you want your neighbor's option or do you want your option that I'm giving you right now? I rather do the right way. Okay, and just curious, what do you think would happen with your HOA if you did it that way? And look what happens. Boom, I'm causing a pain that they weren't really thinking of yet. Because they may think it's just aesthetic, but it's like, well, have you ever restuccoed a home? Do you know what it costs to restucco a whole home for something like that? No, it's thousands of dollars. Like, I've done it, right? I've actually restuccoed a whole home once. I didn't realize how much it would cost us to do it.
Yeah.
Also, dude, there was one home we did a restucco for like over 20 grand.
Hmm.
Like when you say those numbers to them and build a story for them to look at it, they go, "Oh, okay, yeah, I don't want that problem." Okay,
It's so funny. That's my best performing ad right now. I'm gonna give you guys sauce.
let's go.
Literally, you can look me up on the ads library, Smith and Co. Painting. If you go on there, it's me and my son, and we're just walking in the neighborhood, and my guys are working behind. And my son
Yeah,
goes, "Dad, what's that?" And I said, "Well, they're painting a house. They're using Smith and Co. Painting because if they needed to redo their entire stucco, it's going to cost them $40,000, $50,000. But then they hire Smith and Co. Painting, and it only comes out to quarter of the price, whatever it is, right?" And
yeah,
it was
yeah,
like, and it'll last for the next 10 years, so you don't have to worry about it. So if that's you and you're looking for a quote, blah, 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 blah.
yeah.
And dude,
Oh,
I
dude,
promise you it's money
that's money. That is
because of,
money, dude.
because of what you just said. You're building something that they weren't even thinking about. Maybe they didn't even know that restuccoing was a thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you are now saying, here's what it could be if you do it this way. But we come in and we solve it. And it's good for the next decade. Looks good. Quarter the price.
Guys, he just put game on you right
That's it.
there. That's
That's it.
awesome, man. I love that.
I do want to get back to the sales though, because I have one more topic just real
Yep,
quick that people can use. So I worked with Josh Edwards Paint and Co. He's
yep.
actually coming on as a coach for the Paint Pro coaching. So shout out to
Nice, dude. Love Josh, man. He's awesome. What
the
a great
man.
ad.
Yeah,
Yeah, man.
it's
That's
it's,
awesome.
it's going to be amazing. And one of the things he told me that has been working really well because he was like, Aiden, how do I get across a point that if they don't choose us, they are literally taking a shot in the dark? Like,
Ooh.
how do I get that across to this person? And he came up, granted, this is not me, this is him. And he came
Yeah.
up and he said, look, in Montana, where he's from, anybody can pay $70 and now they're a licensed painting contractor in Montana.
Wow.
And he basically is explaining to these, homeowners like, hey, I know we went through all our processes and all this kind of stuff. He said, I want to be honest with you. If you go with another company, even if they're half the price, you can pay $70 in our state and you are licensed. And that's our competition, unfortunately. And he's like, I would hate for you to go with one of those companies just because the price was a little bit better. And now the cost long term is going to be headaches, redoing it. And I've seen it before. I don't want you to go through that. So he uses that as a crutch, as like, dang, that is so true. It's logic,
Dave.
it's emotion, right? And then what you can do is, and this is the part that we kind of worked on to get him a little bit more closes, was take off the deposit and say, look, let's commit today, get on the schedule, no deposit, and get your next quote. If you need to get another, that's fine. And if they blow you away and you're more confident and you feel better about them, call me and we'll cancel everything.
Yeah, that to me, I've taught some guys that as well. I think it's important because you're that confident in your process and product that no one else is going to do that. So I love that, and I do that too. Where especially if it's like a timeline thing, like a long time. Hey, just waive the deposit until it gets closer, and then charge the deposit when it's closer to the project.
Yeah.
Make it so like simple that it's like stupid not to do it.
We do it with HOAs all the time because they got
Oh,
to get the
100%.
approval, and that'll be the reason that they don't go with you. It's like, well, I got to get the HOA approval, and I say, oh yeah, no worries, we help you with that, no worries.
Yep.
And this painting is something you're definitely doing, right? And they'll say, yeah, and I'll say, okay, so let's lock up that date. Let's get you on our priority schedule, so you don't
Yep.
have to wait months and months because we are going to book out. The people that are actually booked with us and committed are on priority, and guess what? It's $0 today. Once you get that approval, then the 25% is due, and within 2 to 3 weeks, we'll get you in.
100%.
If
Same
you
same
don't,
process. Love it.
if you don't, you risk being a month and a half, 2 months out, right?
Yep.
I don't want that
Love
to
it.
happen to you.
Yeah, I love it, dude. We're so on point with the same like process like that. That's like it's dude, it's there's so many levels to this, right? And it's like when you can be creative and not so stuck in just like this is just what I do. Well, get creative with it, man. Because you
Yeah,
get creative, the customers feel a lot more important too. They go, man, you're willing to do that for me? Absolutely, I'm willing to do that for you. Guess what happens? They just bought into Smith and Co.
love it. You know what
Yeah, man.
you know what else I love asking too is you know, based on your other quotes, like did you feel as confident as you do with me in them? And a lot of times it'll be like, well, I mean, they didn't go over all this, or they weren't as professional, but like, yeah, they had good reviews. And I'll just be like, well, is that enough, or do you need closure? Do you want to make sure like this is one and done, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
just further kind of concrete, double down, right? Or ask them even why. Why do you think that is? You know?
Yeah.
Like,
But you know what, Aiden, here's the cool part. I love that you're shedding light on what you would do. You know what's lacking though? Not for you, but
sure.
for everybody else? Confidence. Look, like listen to how you just said it. You're like, okay, well, like, is that good enough? Like to
Yeah.
you, you're like, it's a no-brainer. You just said that I'm more professional, my processes are good. Like, is that good enough for you? Like they have great reviews, but they weren't able to come up professionally like I did. Like you're confident to say that.
Yeah.
Where most people that are listening are like, I would never say. Well, that's why you're where you're at because you're too scared to actually push the button. And it's not pushing the button. Here's the cool part to actually lead the customer to a logical sense. Because what happens is they're just thinking, okay, I need to save money on my project. Okay, that's fair to say. But what else is more important than just saving money on your project? Is it peace of mind? Did you feel like I gave you peace of mind today? Yes. Do you feel peace of mind when you think of all those contractors? Not really. Okay, so you agree that the reviews aren't enough. That's correct. Okay, awesome. What's it going to take to sign you up today? You
Yeah.
just ask for the sale again. It ain't that hard, guys.
Yeah.
Get confident with it.
Yeah. And dude, sometimes I'll even throw out the line like, look, as a like top painting company, which you know I would say we are, we're
100%.
usually we're usually in line with the top painting companies in the area. And we're okay to say that. Like there's a couple of us, right? And
Yeah.
when you get somebody that's an outlier, there's a reason why, you know. I would be cool if it was a couple $100 off, right? Yeah, that makes sense. We're talking $2,000, $3,000 off. There's something wrong, right?
Yeah.
It's like our costs are
100%.
similar. It's not like I'm running to the bank with this. Like
Yeah.
there's something else. And then out of those three top companies or however many there are, it usually comes down to who they trusted the most and who vibes with them the most. And I hope we did that today because I feel like, you know, we want to work with the best clients. You know, we feel that you are. And that's going to be the difference maker. So using that crutch of like, yeah, we are in line with the top companies, but also it comes down to the person, right? And the trust factor.
100%.
So if you're not confident, if you're not putting in the work ahead of time to sell them or make them trust that you have the solution to their problem, you are going to be the same as the others.
Yeah,
Simple as that.
100%. I love it, man. Well said.
And then, dude, real quick, like, what do you do in order to make sure that your sales are set up for success?
Whew, I love this. I was just talking about this recently too, is that I always talk about proper, like 5 Ps, right?
Yep.
Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Well, why is that any different when you're prepping a substrate? Why aren't we prepping to get ready for an estimate the next day? So I train my sales teams to look at the jobs prior to. So we pull up Zillow, Redfin, whatever we can do. We look at our office notes and we try to qualify them already, and we start calling them the day before. So I do train my sales teams to already call them the day before. I want them to prime their mind as well and look at the project. So if they look at the house, they're like, dude, this is a 2-story home. What a great opportunity too for you to coach your team and go, hey, why didn't you add that this is a 2-story home and they want to do trim and that their budget's this? I already know looking at the photos, it's going to be 4 grand versus 2 grand.
Yep.
Why didn't you do that? Because that pre-qualification is part of the preparation, right? So like
Yeah.
now you can coach them. There, what a great gap to see to coach your office, but then also what a great gap to prime your customer. So then I would call the customer and be like, hey, this is Joel with the painting company. I just want to give you a courtesy call. I'll be meeting with you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Is that still good for you? Yes. Excellent. While I have you on the phone, I was just curious. I had a couple questions. Do you have a couple minutes? Yes. Excellent. So what do? I start asking questions. Hey, I noticed you put a $2,000 budget here and you wanted to do some finishing on the trim. I'm looking at some of the photos right now. When you say trim, can you tell me a little bit more about what other sales reps are doing this?
I'm already
None.
sold.
Yeah, they're showing up to the job and they're just trying to sell you. I'm calling you in advance. So I'm not wasting my time or yours, or I'm pre-qualifying you again. And then I'm still looking forward to meeting you tomorrow, right? Well, I got the $2,000 budget because that's just what I assumed it would cost. Okay, well, I just need a little bit more information prior to me coming out to your home. When you say trim, or is it just the trim around the windows, or are you looking at doing your fascias and your soffits? Oh, we're trying to do fascias, soffits, and trim. Okay, well, how important is it to stay around this $2,000? Reason why I'm asking is I see it's a 2-story, so we'd
Mm,
have to repaint all of your soffits, your fascias, your corbels, your trim over your windows, and I can tell you right now, just by looking at the photos, it's going to be more than 2 grand. Are you guys open to that? Oh wow, Joel, I didn't know that. Yeah. So again, where did you get this $2,000 mindset from? Like, where did you get 2 grand from?
yep, yep, yep.
Oh, I already got a couple quotes. Okay. Are they saying 2 grand? Yes. Okay. What led you to want to get another quote? Oh, well, I looked up your company. You have more 5-star reviews. You guys look more professional. And I just didn't trust their $2,000 quotes. Okay. So you would say it's fair to say that that 2 grand already isn't something that's in the ballpark. And I'm already telling you over the phone
Yeah.
that we're going to be more than that. So if you're still okay with that, I'd love to meet with you at 10 a.m., talk about our processes, and see what we can do to make it work. Yeah, that sounds great. How do you not close the
Dude,
deal?
now all you're doing literally is imagine you just alley-ooped yourself.
Correct.
The ball's in the
100%.
air. You're showing up, and all you're doing is putting it in the rim, right? You did the heavy
100%.
lifting already. I
Yep.
love that. No,
Yeah.
and also you are going into the reasoning, right? You're figuring out where they're coming from, right?
Yep.
What the mindset is behind it, right? So you already fought the heavy battle beforehand. That's important, man. And I think people shy away from talking about price early. Number one, you need a job size minimum. Number one, right?
Yep.
Unless you're going to be pedaling in the $3,000 to $3,500 jobs all year, right? That's not going to work. You need something that's going to be worth your time. Yes, they're smaller jobs, but you are going to really hurt yourself if you're running around to these small jobs all day, right? There's gonna be a lot of headaches, a lot
100%.
of productions. I mean, if you want to do $1 million business, you need to be at minimum 55 to 7,500 around there, something like that, to where it's at least feasible per week to just have your job stacked and not have three crew or one crew run around the three jobs, right?
Yeah.
Just structurally,
Yeah.
right? But at the same token is like you get to now prep the sale in a way that number one, they know the price is going to be more. Number two, they have the expectation. And number three, it's like you already, like I said, did the heavy lifting. You're showing up and you're basically just trying to iron out where their price is. As simple as that.
100%. It's way too simple, dude. And when you get into that culture and that setup call like that, I'm telling you guys, your average job size goes up, your
Yeah.
closing ratio goes up again. And the cool part is you're not losing time. What a beauty to know, hey, I still got 24 hours to fill in the gap for something that didn't work out. So then I call my office and go, hey, that 10 a.m. is going to cancel. We're taking them off. I need you to find another one for me for 10 a.m. tomorrow.
I got 2 points there. I love that. Right. I heard something. It was, I think Alex Ramosi, he was talking to a sales rep who's closing 80%. And he's like, hey, how is this guy closing 80%? Like, that makes no
Mhm.
sense to me. And he asked him what he does. And he says, oh, simple. The day before, I literally look at my schedule for the next day and see if they're even remotely qualified to use our services. And if not, I cancel
Yep,
the appointment.
100%. That
Gas.
and here's the craziest part, real fast, is that most
Mhm.
people go, well, what if you don't have enough estimates and I need this? Okay, well, what if you had more time to do callbacks on the pipeline you've been like neglecting? You
Mhm.
might have a $500,000 in your sales pipeline. You could be doing callbacks. I would think you would do more damage calling the callbacks than a theoretic, hypothetical estimate you might be able to go on and try to close. What a waste of time in my world. Because then I go, okay, well, half-hour drive there, an hour to an hour and a half there, and then another half hour. What damage could I have done in 2 to 3 hours
That's a whole
over the
networking
phone?
group.
Dude, it's crazy.
That's
100%.
it's like, and that's
Yeah.
that's another thing, right? Is like, I'm glad that you brought that up. Is you literally have where am I going with this? You have been blanking a few times this one. Oh, quantity.
Mm,
Most people will try and hang on to that sale and not lose it. And it's like, well, let's see what I can do, right? And I'll take less margin just so we get the job. And it's like, man, you're really hurting yourself. But think about it if you had 5 more estimates to call and figure out. Now you're not worried about that one that wouldn't have been a good fit for you anyway. So sometimes you
yeah.
need more volume, right? Maybe you go on
Yep.
10 estimates through 2 weeks because don't have that much volume and you close 3 of them and you're like, shit, man, what's going on? But
Yeah.
then that next week you close all 9 or 10, whatever it is. Sometimes you just need more volume to assess
hmm
where you're really at, right? And I
Dude,
think people try to
that's
hold
well
on.
said. Yeah. And obviously, like, guys, listen to us, right? Like, there is some gray area in certain things that we say because there's metrics that Aiden and I follow as well. But at least this will streamline it and make it quicker for you guys. So that's important too.
Cool. Now I think we covered a lot here. Any last thoughts?
I would say, I think we're still in this. I'm seeing a trend, right? And I hope people can hear this and really reflect on it. I've been hearing a lot of people making some last minute decisions out of desperation. And when you make a decision out of desperation, I promise you, your future self will regret it. So slow down. And I just put a post on it, which is really cool. Jason Phillips, like, literally had the same post, but we're talking about two different slow down speed ups, which was really cool to watch today. I was talking about slow down, speed up mentally. He was talking about slow down, speed up on an estimate. I was like, dude, that's so cool to watch, right?
Yeah.
When you pay attention to other people's content too, we're all saying the same thing in different ways.
Yeah.
But what do I mean by slow down? Guys, before you make that first decision that came up to your mind, slow down, write it down, look at the multiple options that you have, and then make a educated decision off of those and watch what the trajectory looks like when you do that a few times a week. I'm telling you, man, it's game changer, right? Some of us are taught that we need to power through these things and just keep going estimate after estimate after estimate. Guess what? Your closing ratio goes down. Your mood is not regulated. You feel like shit. You feel like you're not doing well. You're not performing really well. Well, that's because you're not slowing down to audit yourself. Audit what's going on, adjust, pivot, execute. You'll have a different result every single time. So I want to say that. I think that's important to get you guys to slow down a little bit. I'm seeing that people are trying to pile drive through all that stuff.
Yeah. And dude, we can go all day with this kind of stuff, like so
Oh
many
yeah.
angles when it comes to sales and whatnot. We'll do a part 2 at least.
Yes.
And we'll cover some other things, some objection stuff. I really liked the idea of, like, mental state, and like you said, you get pumped up before that sale and reset, right? That's important
Yeah.
because you need to block out everything and be there and present for your client, right? We can talk about servitude. We can talk about all these different things. So stay tuned. We're going to be dropping that here soon, guys. We have a lot of guests coming up. Excited about that, and A lot of good
Yes.
things happening this year.
Lock in, guys. Lock in. We're gonna crush it this year.
Yeah. All right, brother. Any quotes to end us?
I don't have any quotes today,
Okay.
and I think just purely because we crushed it with a lot of different gems, but
Right.
just lock in, guys. You know, this is a season to lock in, stay focused, and reach out to Aiden and I. We're very available to at least point you guys in the right direction quickly. So just don't hesitate. Please reach out to us for
Yes,
real.
sir. All right, guys. Until the next one.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.